Also, the freedom of the press is one of the great bulwarks of liberty and can never be restrained but by despotic governments. And with these words from George Mason, I welcome you to Atn Politics, Atlantic Television Network's flagship program that discusses core political trends with relevant political stakeholders. And today on Atn Politics, we will be discussing core issues from different political landscapes, such as in Edo State, I am not barren, Betsy Obaseki replies of Shomole. In Osun State, APC demands investigations into contract fraud. And in Kogi State, PDP appeals for unity. And opposition parties deny merger plans with the PDP. These and more to be dissected by our guests. And before I introduce him, we go for this very short break. To be back very, very soon. Don't move an inch.
Here's it all on Atn Politics today. Every day our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
Good to have you back on Atn Politics right here in the studios of Atlantic Television Network in the political city of Port Harcourt. I am your host, Raymond Ken Mbata, and our guest today is a well-renowned civil rights activist. He is an indefatigable fighter for the people and also a political analyst. He is not one for so much splendor in nomenclature and all that. He's a simple man, but with mighty ideas. I'm talking of none other than Comrade Andy Motive. It's a pleasure having you here once again.
Pleasure is all mine. Good evening. Good evening.
I hope you're not
Nigeria.
upset with me adding comrade there again.
No. It's appropriate. It's appropriate.
It's
Once a comrade, always a comrade.
Definitely.
Yeah, thank you.
You're
so
welcome
much.
to the
Thank you
studios.
so much. Thank you so much.
All right, in order not to take any much of your time, let's head on to the first story for discussions. The wife of Edo State Governor Betsy Obaseki has replied to former Governor Adams Oshomole, stating that she is not a barren woman. And Mrs. Obaseki says that she is fruitful and currently fulfilling God's purpose in her life. As reported by press, she explained that being fruitful is not limited to childbearing alone, but also about impacting the lives and creating positive change in the society. She stated this while speaking at a virtual town hall meeting organized by the Edo women in the diaspora on Saturday, September the 7th. And the governor's wife encouraged women like her who are coping with pains and miscarriages with comforting words. First of all, I do not intend for us to look into the debacle between Mrs. Obaseki and former Governor Shomole, the present senator. But I intended to draw you in via the reasons for this whole debacle that started. It was as a means of passing information to the people via the manifestos that they have, the plans that they have for the people on the part of the APC for Bebolo, which Oshomole stands in for most of the time, and also Betsy Obaseki stood in for some time for Aswe Godalo. And these comments came in, and I knew that it was just one part of those vain aspects of human nature. But can we straighten the parts again? What do you believe should be at the top interest of Edo people? And I know that you are a stakeholder in Edo politics. What do you think Edo people deserve more in this coming dispensation, sir?
So, the people of Edo State would rather want to see aspirants that speaks to the issues. They are people who concentrate on emphasizing what are the core issues of core interest to the Edo people, as against, you know, these very devilish rhetorics that they are, slinging up and about. The other people are interested in hearing from either side, whether from the Labour Party side, the PDP or the APC, what exactly they intend to do for Edo State. What do they want to do differently? With if you may, some of the amounts that they have received in the president was quoted as saying that the governors have received so much money in this period, even though that's not exactly correct. But comparatively, in terms of quantity, not in terms of what it can purchase, the monies that have been given to governors are so much, including to Edo State, that did not receive this much, this kind of amount of money since 1999. The Edo people want to know, if you receive this kind of money, how would that affect the health sector? How would that affect the livelihood of the entirety of those who are resident in Edo State and those who are even indigenous of Edo State? And not this kind of politics that we see, particularly the one that, the kind of jab that came from, Adams Oshiomhole. It was totally uncalled for. If you are very if you are very particular, or if you watch the wrestling, you watch any of those competitions, you found that there were certain rules that you must not contravene. If you did, you'll be disqualified. There are certain places you will not be, even with the boxing matches. There are certain places you must not punch below. If our politics is getting to the level today where those who are in the boxing ring, the politicians as it were, are not mindful about where they throw their jabs, are not mindful about how they throw their jabs, they will just hit on people regardless of what the rules of the game states. Then I am afraid that politics is descending very quickly to the abyss in Nigeria. How do you come as a former governor, a senator, a comrade, somebody who was pro-people, and you come on national television and you say such things? When I heard it, I prayed. There are specific things that you must. I think Adams Oshiomhole, if he's listening to this, more Nigerians, not just that lady, Nigerians, a deep apology that should not just come as mere words. Nigerians must be able to see it in its mannerism. Nigerians must be able to see it as somebody who indeed is repentant of those things that he said to that lady.
Politics. Politics, is it not fair?
No, it's not fair. All is not fair in politics. You know what they say? Sure? That all is fair in politics as long as it helps you win the competition. I think it's totally awkward.
Do we observe morals in Nigerian politics?
I understand that even the American politics is fast descending into that kind of arena, with some of the rhetorics we hear about the politics in America today. But I think as Africans and as Nigerians, there are certain things that we hold sacred. There are certain things that, that if you were a proper child, a proper Nigerian child, a proper African child, you will not be found doing those things or saying those things. Now, this is me saying that I want to believe Adams Oshiomhole once upon a time was one of the politicians, or one of the people in Nigeria that I respected. I respected because of his oratory prowess. I respected because if he said he wanted to do certain things, you saw that he put everything towards doing the thing. If he wanted to support you, you knew Adams Oshiomhole was supporting you. He threw everything towards supporting that person. I value those, those traits in him. But you see, this for me is the lowest Adams Oshiomhole could have gone. Adams Oshiomhole went, or Adams Oshiomhole would ever go. This is the lowest. You don't say to a woman, particularly that she's having issues with childbirth. You don't say she's barren. I thought there was going to be a connect, and you were not going to be neutral when we were speaking about being barren. Like, she wasn't neutral, when she was talking about this fruitfulness now. She's fruitful because she's accomplishing a lot of things. You see that she's delivering on the askings of divinity. The things that God has said to her to do, she believes that she's fulfilling it. They must not be having children before.
He was replying to her comments concerning Monday Okpebolo's not being married.
You know, so what was said about that, for me, even though it was also not appropriate, it was not something that we could say was as severe as this. If you say a person was not married, I don't know how that is offensive. He is not married. How is that offensive? Yes, I'm not married. And that's not as offensive as it is for you to say I mean, I want to say they couldn't even adopt. They've been living for this number of years without. That was too low. It was too low. You know, by my reckoning. I thought that Adams Oshomole should be told that he must come quickly to Nigerians and apologize.
Okay. Being that you as a medical professional in that aspect, do you think that it is compulsory for one to be able to bear fruit, to be able to impact in the society, or for one to be married? That's the family, the nuclear family has to be picture perfect for political ideology to
not necessarily. If you looked at the life, political life of the Clintons, you saw that they had just a child, Chelsea, right? You do not necessarily have to, if it's your decision. I don't know why this is something that we will be discussing as a matter of fact. You know, sitting there and discussing it should be taken to me that we're having to discuss the personal life of, you know, people, not as it concerns politics. How does the decision of the current governor and the wife not to have children, for instance, I want to see how it affects their ability to be able to deliver on good governance. You don't understand. How do you connect it that if a person didn't have a child, the person will not be able to deliver? In any case, if you understood why the wife even talked about he's not being married, you would understand that in Africa, if there were certain things that you did as a man and you allowed the male ego, you know, to becloud you, if you got home, your wife will call you to order. Your wife will say to you that, sweetheart, you know, I didn't think that this thing was proper or appropriate. If a man did not have that kind of, you know, balance, if you didn't have it, you can have it in a mother anyways, you can have it in a girlfriend. If you didn't have that kind of balance, then the society that Nama was entrusted with leadership, you can see researches that will prove that that man will not be as sensitive, as emotive, you know, as connected to the people as the office would demand. And I'm sure it was from that prism that the wife was speaking about those things, that, oh, if he was married, we would have somebody who would be able to do this and do this and do this. I do not think the intendment was to essentially bring him down because he's not married. Because there are several people, you know, a man that I love and revere so much, you know, in this country, Ben Kole was a Speaker of the House of Assembly. Yeah. And before he was married, he was a Speaker, and he did wonderfully well. You know, the one was a one-time president of this country. I thought that also before he had been the president, before he also got married. So the truth is that the Obaseki's wife did not intend to, you know, derogate, you know, the person of the current aspirant of APC in the manner Adams Oshomole did to her and her husband. I am saying this publicly. Adams Oshomole, if you are ever listening to this, and this lowest low, you need to quickly come and address the Nigerian population, the Nigerian, you know, people, to say that indeed I'm very sorry, you know, to have done what I did, to have said the things that I said against this lady. I apologize. I take them back. Even the words that are thrown out are very, you know, difficult to take, but I apologize very profusely. If you do not do that, someone like Andy, you would have lost him, you know, lost his support forever.
Oh, good. Anyway, the reasons that topic came up for discussions was to actually redirect political campaigns and policies to what it ought to be, and not to this part, this denigrating part that it was always already facing. And I mean, Comrade Andy Akpotive has already put words straight out there to our comrade senator to set things right. And we'll move on to Osun State, where the chapter of the All Progressive Congress, APC, has called for an investigation into Mr. Kazim Akinleye, the Chief of Staff to Governor Ademola Adeleke, over allegations of contract fraud. The APC's demand was made in a statement issued on Sunday by its spokesperson, Mr. Kola Olabisi. The APC urged Governor Adeleke to refer Akinleye to the Code of Conduct Bureau for an investigation into claims that he used his office to secure a 297 million naira TET fund contract intended for the University of Osun for his company, Akinsas Interbiz Limited. Olabisi described the allegations as serious and called for immediate action, dismissing the governor's explanations as inadequate. There is there's a growing concern in me that I mean, while looking through news reports, while looking through topics for discussions, I begin to find out that the opposition parties are beginning to seem like even financial watchdogs right now. And I begin to ask, okay, I could excuse the EFCC, I could excuse the ICPC. These are institutions still, we are still nurturing them to be what they ought to be.
What should that be? I mean, should we still be nurturing them? We have appropriations.
Why is the civil society organizations, I mean, not involved in picking these holes in the various state governments and leaving that for the opposition party to take hold of? I would have preferred if the CSOs were in charge of picking out these flaws in the various state governments.
Okay, so you said right is stronger than right.
Law is the denominator that is the strongest in prosecuting cases, political cases or whatever cases in Nigeria. I say this because I'm a very active member in the civil society space. And I can say to you that it takes money to prosecute some of these things. If you see what SERAP is doing, SERAP is able to pursue some of these things that they are pursuing. Because if you permit my saying it, they have got volunteer lawyers who are ready to jump into the river, as it were, to ensure that justice comes to the Nigerian people. Volunteer lawyers that they are not paying. People who are dedicated to prosecuting them. So if you had a civil society organization that Andy was heading, and I wanted to prosecute certain things, I used my resource to investigate, to do something like was just done recently with NDDC. You saw what happened when the civil society space shouted and said, "Oh, everything is corrupt," with evidence and everything. And they went to the Senate, they pursued the case to the Senate, and what happened? Off your mic, Mr. Chairman, off your mic. And that was how it ended. If you had the civil society organizations having enough monies, having lawyers who are willing to do certain things, they would have been able to prosecute these things beyond even the off your mic thing. So first off, the resource to do is not available. That's one thing that we must understand. Then there is wanton corruption even in the civil society space. You know, very recently I was talking to a colleague, in this movement, that there are very few civil society organizations that you can say today can hold their heads up high and say, we have not been tainted. We have not been tainted by a politician. We have not been tainted by any institution. We have not been tainted by any individual that is a politically exposed person. There are very few civil society organizations. They are either running to United Nations to go and pick up certain things to get funding, and if you cooked up certain things to get funding, your opposition can see you and quickly go and say, "Oh, you even did this now to get funding. Why do you think you can come and stand to say this man is corrupt when you did this to get funding? Or this man supported you in this way now, he gave you 300 million the last time. Why do you?" So because of all those things, you find that the civil society space is not functioning as it used to function. In the days of, the likes of them Chima, the likes of them Beko, and all these people who actively, were doing civil society business from their resources. They were doing civil society business, using all that they had available to them. They use their financial resources, they use their physical resources, they use their connections within and outside of the country to prosecute those things. And they were not doing it for ulterior motive. Today, what do we have? We have people who essentially, once upon a time, when in the civil society space, they began to prosecute certain things, they found them useful, they got them into the political space, and today they have even joined in the corruption. Tempting some of us who have continued to emphasize that there is nothing that can make us even dip our hands in the jar or get corrupted. Once you said this today to Nigeria, they'll say, look at you, are just coming. I'm tempted to call a few of their names, but let me not call it. Once upon a time, this man was much more vocal than you. Today, he's eating money. He's a minister, he's eating money. Once upon a time, this other one was much more vocal, but see what's happening today. These, riggings, if you may, are what makes for the fact that there are fewer civil society organizations and individuals who can prosecute it. But I agree with what you have said, because in those days you had civil society organizations that were just concentrating on budgets. They just took the budget. Every year the budget was passed, they took the budget and it became their project. And they followed the budget. If NDDC had 300 million, they ensured that they followed it from when that 300 million was given NDDC. What NDDC did with that 300 million, those projects, they followed through on those projects. Exactly. Then they went to the different ministries. There were civil society organizations that were concentrating on health. There were civil society organizations that were concentrating on education. But today, the truth of the matter is that there is fatigue. There's fatigue on the side of the civil society organization because there is fatigue because you are doing so much every year. You are spending yourself every year. You are spending your resources every year. Even the people you are fighting for, they look at you and they say, this one is looking for something. This one is looking for something. When they give you something, we close his mouth. And the government you're fighting, they are sending people after you every day. Oh, as you are driving, you are looking into your inner mirror, you are seeing that people they are calling you, they are checking your phone and everything. So you find that today, it feels as though the people who yesterday were champions for good governance have been beaten down. They have been beaten so much to the level where indeed they feel like, okay, this is what does buckle. In any case, the country is not my father's. I was saying to somebody just yesterday that there are people that I knew yesterday who are currently CTC chairmen in Rivers State who spoke against bad governance. But today they are there. And today they are doing things that Atn Politics they could not have imagined that they would do. If you actually go to ask them why they are doing some of those things, they will tell you, the people ahead of us, they have gone, they have eaten theirs. It's my own turn to eat.
Why doesn't Hamdi have civil society organizations to checkmate this?
Absolutely, I do. And I don't know if you do not know.
Okay,
the group against national injustice, named after my mentor, Gani Fahimi, Group Against National Injustice. I'm the president of the movement. We actually are very involved at addressing everything that is injustice in our nation, everything that is injustice. Injustice against individuals, injustice against corporations, injustice against families, every kind of injustice, But you see, it takes a lot to be able to do that. If I did not have a profession, if I was not involved and earning a salary or earning a livelihood, there's no where money is coming from to prosecute those things because you would have to go to court in some cases, you have to investigate in some cases. You have to do several things. Nobody is saying, oh, that man has been doing so well. So let us, without any strings attached, right? Let us support this movement with this amount. Nobody is saying anything like that. So it must be you listening to the cries of people and helping to prosecute you. You saw what we did in Rivers State with the case of Chima Okonodo. A few of us, my civil society movement and a few others, we came together, and we ensured that that case was pursued to the end. If I sat you down to tell you the cost that is involved or that we threw in at prosecuting that, you will shudder. So if you do not have those things and you do not want to be corrupted, you find that you would at some point get very despondent. At some point you will say, after all, the country is not my father's. Okay,
but what's your analysis concerning the local government caretaker committee chairman in Rivers State? Your personal analysis. Appalling in all ramification. As I sit here, I'm almost moved to tears. I'm almost moved to tears because the people who are currently occupying this position in Rivers State were people who yesterday, I thought if you gave them leadership position, they would be able to demonstrate that it is a good thing to be schooled. It's a good thing to be cultured. It's a good thing to be young. They've been getting congratulatory messages from left, right, and
from
center.
Who now? From their spin doctors. You are congratulating a person because he has done what? I have said in this town, and for anybody who care to listen, that some of us only 2 years to be in leadership position. And it will be clear, it will be visible to the blind and audible to the deaf what some of the things that we will do. I said to you last time, it's not rocket science knowledge. Yeah. It does not require it to fix the bare necessities that Nigerians are in need of. Nigerians are not looking for one person who is going to bring one technology that will move them from Rumokoro to Rumukuta in split seconds. No. Nigerians are looking for how they can eat, how they can send their children to school, how they can have a regular power, how they can have security, how they can, the basic things like Abraham Maslow has spoken to, physiological needs, safety needs, social needs, and all of that, self-esteem needs. If you may, also self-actualization needs, the basic things, that's what Nigerians are looking for. And to fix these things is not rocket science knowledge. You are earning allocation, and you say you want to do empowerment. And you are buying second-hand, third-hand vehicles for a few people, and you say that's empowerment. You are buying wheelbarrow to feed Nigeria. And I look at it, and is this as a result of a lack of thinking, or is intentional and deliberate, so that you can for the optics, it can look as though you are doing something. In any case, no one is even going to the vehicles to look at the vehicles. No one is even driving them to see that they are rickety in the first instance. For the optics, let's just arrange a few vehicles for people. When there are better things to do, there are several. If they do not know, they can engage. And we will do it for them pro bono. If you just call and say, Andy, please come. I have got this much money that I want to use to do empowerment for this much people. In the first instance, what you should do as a citizen person is to be able to say, what is the number of this category of people that I have in my environment, in my local government? The number of out-of-school children. The number of women who are looking at starting a trade. The number, and it's as simple as that. If you got 10, 20 people together in a hall, and you told people to come and pitch their businesses, the best of those pitches were giving monies to go and execute, and you plugged certain people as mentors around them, you took their data, you followed them up. Do you know that would be better empowerment? If you got 20 people and you got 20 people every 3 months, or you got 20 people every 6 months, and you give them 10 million naira each of all those 20 people, you pursued the protocol that they pitched to you with somebody who is a mentor that is plugged to them. In another 1 year, 2 years, we are going to see very palpable changes in your head, as against this nonsense that we see this people doing. And there are several ways that we can do this empowerment. So for me, it's rather very unfortunate, really very unfortunate, that we have young men who ordinarily you would have expected that they would do better. They would do better than the people who were there before. They would do better than the governors whose only interest, when they become governors, was to take security votes and to carry monies and stash them abroad, different countries, and go and put them in safe warehouses. You would have expected that these people will come and they will do better and they will do differently.
Did they do better than the former local government?
The truth of the matter is,
yes,
I would not want to compare them because my expectation for these people, they are way higher. I say that people would appreciate a thing from three perspectives.
Okay.
One, from your expectations, from and of that thing. That's how you appraise it. If I thought that this person, I expect that this person is going to do this well, and the person did not do that well, I can appraise that person as being bad. That's the first thing. Okay. Two, from your experiences. What experiences have you had? If once upon a time you went to a country where you drove a road that was perfectly tarred, and you saw that the county, local government equivalent fixed those roads, and you came to Nigeria and you were driving on what you cannot call roads. I saw the Delta State government go to local government and trade money for. It was even his hand pluck the sand and everything that they said they had done. If you had traveled abroad before, you had gone to places, you had experienced certain things, you had experienced classrooms, and you come to Nigeria and you see what you see, you are going to measure those people as being failures. The third is your educational level. What level of education you have. By the level of education that you have, it will determine how you are praise people. So for me, these three experiences, my educational level, it made it to appraise people differently from the past, because I had seen that this was supposed to be a different. Some of them, like I said to you, are people who are PhD holders. Some of them are people who had sat with, had conversations, in time past, and they were very cerebral. But today, see what's happening. For their community people.
Is there a jinx in politics?
I think it's poverty, right? Poverty of the mind. You see, if you are able to conquer poverty, real poverty, literal and figurative poverty, if you are giving authority, if you are giving leadership position, and you will demonstrate your poverty in how you administer. So people who have tasted too much of party, when they start around money, the first thing they thought about doing was to consume, was to take, because in them there is still poverty. You would have to first conquer poverty to understand that poverty is not essentially about the amount of money that you have in your pocket. No, it's not essentially about that. It's essentially about what you are able to do and what you are not able to do. Because without money, there are a lot of things you can still do. But a lot of people just assume that because yesterday they rode in keke, yesterday they slept on beds that had bugs, yesterday they were unable to have, I don't want to say 1 square meal, they were able to eat once a day. So by their thinking, once they are put in position of authority, they must quickly gather so that they don't return to what it used to be. It's a mindset, and that's what I see in all of them across the length and breadth of this country, from the north, south, east, and west. That's why you see a person becomes, whatever, and the first thing he's doing is stealing 2 billion. He's stealing 3 billion. He's stealing 10 billion. They are giving you money to go and construct road. The money is in your account, hundreds of billions, and you are stealing it. How many years will it take you to eat 1 billion? I had said to somebody that if you wanted to eat 30,000 naira a day, 30,000 naira a day, it will take you 300 years to finish how many billion? 300 years. How many people can live for 300 years? So it is poverty mentality. That's why you see that a lot of them, they are doing the things that they are doing. The day and the time is going to come when the terrestrial and the celestial will clap, and people who indeed mean well for this country, who indeed are patriotic, about the things of this country, people indeed who have the fear of God and the sympathy of man at heart emerge and will begin to change, these some of these issues.
That's what we hope for. We hope that there will be sanity in public places. Also, the people should be the direct beneficiaries, first of all, before any other person should step in. I've been speaking with Comrade Apotibe Andy, and this is Atn Politics, that we will still move further to Kogi State, where the People's Democratic Party has issued a heartfelt appeal to members who engage in ethnic agitations during the recent Kogi State governorship elections to return to the party. The appeal made by Alhaji T. Arua, the state's publicity secretary, emphasized the importance of rebuilding the PDP as the most and largest political party in the state. PDP highlighted the necessity of uniting all opposition forces to effectively challenge the ruling party. The party also extended an invitation to leaders of the Social Democracy across the 21 local governments, asserting that a united and strong opposition is crucial for displacing the ruling party. This, they believe, can only be achieved under the leadership of the PDP. Comrade, sir, we have seen some body language from Usman Ododo, the governor of Kogi State, per se. And he was in this attire with the PDP governors. He wearing the same attires, even if he came from the APC toga. And right now, the APC, the PDP per se, is trying to unite the SDP, who were rivals during the past gubernatorial elections that even went down to up to the Supreme Court. And the PDP is trying to make a unity of all opposition forces. Is the governor going to be part of the opposition forces? Is Senator Dino Milaye going to be part of the opposition forces? What is the PDP trying to construct in Kogi State here?
The truth of the matter is, there's no way you can actually upturn the ruling party, wrestle power from their hands, if there is no merger. Except, like I always say, except it's nature that wants to make that happen. If it must be by our action, we must be intentional and deliberate starting from now, you know, because the tentacles, you know, of the APC, as it were, across the length and breadth of this country, you know, is very entrenched. The traditional institutions, the religious institutions, the social cultural institutions,
Even these opposition political
parties, the APC, you know, has spread their tentacles into all of those places. And very recently again, you know, because I always have political discussions with friends, I was saying that if the PDP particularly, and I'm saying the PDP because politics is about structure, and in Nigeria, and I've defined structure here severally. Structure is about the amount of money that you have, or you can wield, and the amount of violence that you can deploy on election day. The people who have got the capacity to be able to do this is the APC and the PDP. Don't be deceived. There are 774 local government areas in this country. And do you know how big some local government areas are? How many political parties can plant non-state actors in all of these 774 local governments to disrupt processes in their favor? One, how many of them can plant state actors? How many of them have the resource deep enough to plant state actors in all of these 774 local governments to disrupt the protocol or the process in their favor? Don't get deceived that elections are held in Nigeria and the results count. You must be politically naive to assume that elections, that votes count, that you would vote in this country, the number of people that will vote, their vote will count, and it's the counting of the vote that will throw up a governor, that will throw up a... It was in this state that we were told about a sitting chairman of APC, or one of the people contesting for the position of the chairman of APC.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He said to us that when he was a chief of staff, that he was in his office, that they were writing result now. You and I voted in those elections that he's referring to. I voted in those elections, assuming that the people that I voted, they were going to win. He just told us recently, less than 2 months ago, that they wrote on those elections that he was responsible for it and giving it to the electoral officer, the chairman, to go and announce. Go and announce it. Go and announce it. So you can't sit here or anywhere else in the country and be assuming that, when people vote, they will count the votes. Votes will be allotted to the different political parties. The winner will emerge. No! You must have the structure. Structure. That's why you saw that APC and PDP kept on talking about structure with Labour Party. That they don't have structure. And Labour Party, they were answering them. They were offended. I said to them, don't be offended. They know what they're talking about. You don't understand what they're talking about. Structure is money. How much do you have if you took Peter Obi away from Labour Party? Apologies to the others. How much is in Labour Party? Well, the non-state actors that you have, how many of them can penetrate the 774 local governments, including in the north? Including in the north. To ensure that Labour Party won. How many of them can do that? So you must understand that until you are able to align properly, you know, if you wanted to dine with the devil, you must use a long stick. When they tell you that parable, they tell you so that you deployed a strategy that is suitable enough to be able to still dine with the devil and achieve your aim. So if you want to beat APC, whether in any states or in the federal, as it stands today, you have got to deploy a strategy. One of those strategies that I have continued to preach, you know, it was here that I said, the moment Peter Obi did not do everything to pick either of Rabi Musa Kwankwaso or the deposed emir of them that has become the new emir, that is former Sanusi, that if he did not pick either of these two people, that the likelihood of his winning the election will be very slim. Yeah, I said it here. Because I understood, you know, the nature of Nigerian politics. The truth of the matter is that for you to be able to win them, you must be able to think like them. You must be able to descend into the arena and understand their antics. Then try as much as possible to undo those antics, doing yours also. So I like what is happening right now. I just only hope that they would be patriotic enough to throw self to the back door and bring love for country to the front burner. Love for country. So even if it's not me that is the card that's carrying the card, you know, either as a gubernatorial candidate or a presidential candidate, yeah, I will support whoever it is. Just like as was done in the days and time when Atiku and co supported President Muhammadu Buhari against the incumbent. You saw that in the convention that they had, Rochas Okorocha, you know, said we are going to support you. Atiku Abubakar, we are going to support you. Kwankwaso said we are going to. They all supported him after they did not win that primaries. Exactly. And that was how, indeed, President Muhammadu Buhari was able to win the election. Until we get to that level now, starting from today, not waiting to 2027, starting from today to do all the permutations, to bring in all the stakeholders, you would never be able to wrestle power away from APC.
From the APC. Okay. Right here in Atlantic Television Network, even as the local government elections in Rivers State and all around the nation commences and is drawing closer, we are open for adverts, bookings, placements, and commercials. And you can connect with us and watch us on our ATN socials on Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, on Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, on X, formerly Twitter, Atlantic TV Net, or watch us live on our website, atlanticnetwork.tv. And to the last but not the least story for contemplation today, major opposition parties on Sunday denied being approached by the presidential flag bearer for the People's Democratic Party in 2023, Atiku Abubakar, or any of his loyalists regarding a rumored merger that has been making headlines since last week. A spokesman for Labour Party's presidential campaign organization, Tanko Yunusa, and the National Publicity Secretary of the New Nigeria People's Party, Ladipo Johnson, denied any merger talks with PDP. But the Deputy National Spokesman for the PDP, Ibrahim Abdullahi, had publicly announced on a live political program that the three leading opposition figures in Nigeria were discussing the possibility of a merger to salvage Nigerians from hunger and insecurity ahead of the 2023 presidential elections. I mean, there's a proposition and there's been a debunking. And there has been said that the trio of Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, and Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso could be what will be needed to remove Bola Ahmed Tinubu from the presidential seat of power. But we are hearing discordant tunes, even from spokesperson of the NNPP and that of the Labour Party. Do you think it was a ruse? Do you think the merger should go on? Do you think they are serious? Who will be the presidential candidate?
Like I just addressed, right? If they did not do that, they will not follow through with that, I can assure you that they would be like Lilliputians, you know, before Ahmed Tinubu in 2027. The only way to, because they demonstrated that if we were to go by the calculations by INEC, we should sum all three of their results together. It trumps that of by far, right? Yeah. Imagine a situation where you would have all three of them pulling their weights together, supporting one person for the good of the country. Just imagine that situation. Supporting one person and anyone was quickly and not either of Kwankwaso or Atiku. Supporting a Peter Obi.
Okay, specifically.
Yes, I was quickly hard. Because for me, it's going to be like nothing significant if we merely took powers from Bola Tinubu and gave it to either of Kwankwaso or Atiku. Nothing, essentially. Because we have seen, we have seen what stock they are made of. What stock they are made of. We are looking for a new Nigeria. A new Nigeria that can only be defined by someone who is different, who is not of their stock. And I've heard people say, oh, Obi is a part of this, Obi was in Goodluck Jonathan's government, Obi was in PDP. You can be in PDP and you are not of their stock. Have you not seen people who lecture in the university? They are lecturers, and other lecturers are sleeping with students and collecting sorting money from students. But they insist that they are never going to do that, regardless of the fact that they are on the same campus or on the same campus with them, doing the same things with them. They go by the name lecturer in so and so university. Yeah. But they will never do those things. He is saying that unless you have somebody who is as sincere, as genuine about the Nigeria for tomorrow, or Peter Obi, if we have all of them say that they are going to support this man, they are going to watch him, they are going to give him everything. He has got the heart to fix Nigeria.
But Peter Obi is not has been proven not to be a very good party man. I mean, from ABGA to PDP and now Labour Party. What makes him stand out if he has not been able to stabilize any of the parties?
We are not looking for
and the parties are the vehicles.
We are not looking for a party man. No. We are not looking for someone who stayed.
The party is the only constitutional
I agree
vehicle
to take you to power. Yes. I agree as it stands today in our country because there's no independent candidacy.
Exactly.
I understand. But when you say party man in the way you described it, that because he moved from ABGA to...
Not just the moving, but also contributions in there. In Abga, it didn't get as much as attention from Peter Obi as it ought to.
No. When Peter Obi was in Abga, in Yoruba State, you saw what he did.
I stand to be corrected,
Yes.
but I don't think that he was much of a colossus in Abga.
It was
in PDP.
Who ensured that what's the name of the governor that took over from himself, that the wife slapped the other lady? Who ensured that he became a governor? Who ensured that he became a governor? Peter Obi was a colossus. He was quite enigmatic. He was in Abba. But he understood that he needed to be in the center, because at that time, as a beautiful boy, they reached out to him. Goodluck Jonathan people reached out to him. He had to move to consolidate for the job ahead. The job ahead was not a job that you could get into standing as a colossus in a regional political party.
Okay, but with the likes of Atiku Abubakar and Rabiu Musa Kwakwanso.
Yes.
And you have Peter Obi in the mix there.
Yes.
Concerning this merger, which is still in the pipeline,
yes,
per se.
Yes.
Do you think that those personalities would have allowed the personality of Peter Obi to
Yes,
supersede?
I know it will be tough, right? It will be tough. I mean, I'm speaking very realistically now. If I wanted to be, unnecessarily highfalutin with my postulations, I would be saying none of the three of them should emerge. We should be looking for a fresh candidate who has got, the character, who has got the skill, who has got the chests, in a manner of speaking, to be able to take Nigeria to the destination. I would have said that, but I would be unnecessarily too utopian, if I thought that one person can emerge that is not amongst these three now and become the president of this country. Okay. I like to put my heads where they are. I don't like to be like Nigerians who bury their heads like ostriches, right? Yeah. The truth of the matter is, I know today it seems like it would be a Herculean to have either of Atiku or Kwankwaso, withdraw for Peter Obi to take the lead. Okay. But because I also understand, and pardon my saying this,
it's okay,
that God rules in the affairs of men. Because I understand that sometimes as men we will make postulations. Sometimes as men we will add and we would subtract. And God will just be looking at us and saying, I'm still in charge. Forget or pardon that I'm speaking like this. God will look at us and say, I'm still in charge. I'm still one who still rules in the affairs of men. When the terrestrial, and that's what I mean when I say when the terrestrial and the celestial claps. Yeah. When God, the celestial, when nature is saying, I want to come into this, and the terrestrial in Peter Obi is saying, I'm available. Yeah. The terrestrial in Moses is saying, I'm available, and God is saying from the back of time, I'm preparing you for a time such as this, when you'll be able to take the people of Israel from Egypt. Who is available? Moses says, I'm available. Oh, who is available to free the people of Israel, from the evil snare of Goliath? David says, I'm available. The celestial claps with terrestrial, and there is victory. Yeah. The celestial was able to make, the sling of David so powerful enough to be able to penetrate the head of Goliath. Yeah. We saw what happened, that the celestial assisted in Moses. So I'm saying there's a Peter Obi that will be available. How that will happen, I cannot tell you that right now. But I know that we have got to be rescued in this country. If we are not rescued, the song of Asha is soon coming on us.
Whoa, we have to make sure that there is no fire on the mountain.
Absolutely.
Just as Comrade Andy Apotiva said, and I want to use this opportunity to thank you very much for your postulations, for your analysis and your input.
The pleasure is all mine.
Atn Politics.
The pleasure is all mine.
It's always a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
And there's never enough time for us.
Absolutely, absolutely.
We have a duty to do, and we have tried the best that we can do for today. And because we will always be here for you, we always want you to when you don't get us online, when you don't get us live, you can always go to our ATN socials, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, on X, formerly Twitter, Atlantic TV Net, or watch us live on our website, atlanticnetwork.tv. Some of you have asked for Andy Apotive's social media handles. Just go right there to the comment section and we will make it available for you to follow up on his civil society advocacy and the likes. From your host, Raymond Ken Mbata, I want to say peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Until we come your way, same time tomorrow, stay tuned.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.